Welcome back. You're watching Overdrive, and it's time now for us to take your queries on Autoselector. Sirish joins us as always. Sirish, our first question comes into us from Shankar Iyer. Shankar writes in saying he currently owns a 6-year-old Wagoner, which is mostly chauffeur-driven. He does typically about 60 kilometers a day in Mumbai traffic, and on a weekend he likes to take his wife out on a long drive minus the chauffeur. That's not surprising, Shankar. Now he wants to buy himself a new hatchback. It needs to be a fun drive and have a comfortable rear seat for when the chauffeur is driving. So he shortlisted the Skoda Fabia 1.6 petrol, the Ford Figo diesel and the Fiat Punto 90 HP. He's test-driven the Fabia and likes its premium feel as well as its refinement. He thinks the Figo is good value for money, but he's concerned about its low ground clearance as well as the fact that the radiator is very close to the front bumper. Is that a potential problem? He wants to know. He also wants to know about the Punto because he's driven the Punto. He thinks it's nice to drive, but the plastics seem to be cheap. Which one should he pick, and is the i20 diesel an option? He feels the petrol version is just too underpowered. A lot of things on his list, Sirish. What would you recommend?
Well, as for the Figo, it is excellent value for money and it doesn't have a ground clearance problem. So that's out of the question. Also, if you want to look for a spacious car, the Figo has space. But if you can afford a Fabia 1.6 and if you've driven that car, I think that's the best in this lot. I'm driving the car right now and that engine is just brilliant. You wouldn't think you need 105 horsepower in the city, but in the city it just makes the engine so much unstressed. It's so easy to drive, it's so comfortable, there's always enough torque on tap to make overtaking a breeze. It's also a very refined engine, and the Fabia has good space both at the front and at the back. So when you're chauffeur-driven, there's good space for you to be sitting at the back. When you're driving it on your own, it's a nice, comfortable car to be doing long distances in. It is fast, it handles well, it rides well. Overall, a very, very good package. The i20 also is very close to the Fabia in terms of space and comfort, but that 1.6 engine is of course definitely better than both the i20's petrol and diesel engines. So if you looked at the Fabia 1.6, you're okay with the cost of the car, I think you should go for it.
Okay, our next question comes into us from Rajkot. Jaisal Dave writes in saying he needs your help in choosing between the Yamaha R15 and the Fazer. He needs a sporty bike with a front cowl. He will be using it mainly in the city, Sirish.
Well, if you're looking for ultimate sportiness, the R15 definitely. The engine is more powerful, the brakes are sharper, the chassis is sharper. So if you want to really go corner carving, really have a lot of fun, the R15 is the bike, definitely. The Fazer is close, but it is more oriented towards comfort. So in the city, it is not as, the riding position is not as aggressive, so it won't hurt your back over the long rides, especially in the city traffic where you stop and go. So you got to decide between sportiness and comfort. If sportiness is your priority, R15 definitely.
And our final question comes into us from Atul Mishra. He's interested in buying himself the Volkswagen Jetta and wants to know if it is a good choice. When will the new Jetta be launched in India, and what are the major changes that the new Jetta will sport?
Well, the car is completely different. I drove it in San Francisco last year, and I think it's a big step up from the current Jetta. It's got more space inside the car, it is more roomy, it looks much nicer. It's got the new Volkswagen design language, which I think really rocks. It'll look very good on Indian roads. The package, also the ride and handling package, has been improved. So overall, it is a full step up from the current Jetta. It'll be made in India towards the middle of the year. They're going to launch the Passat right now, and the Jetta will follow soon after. So I think you should wait for it if you're looking for a car in that segment.
Well, that wraps up Autoselector for this week. Remember, if you have queries, email them to us, helpdesk@overdrive.co.in. That's our email address.